What's up guys, Runner Poker here, and welcome back to my poker vlog. Today we're playing 2-5 no limit Texas Hold'em at the Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club. We're into the game for $800. Let's run it up. Is what I would say if we were actually doing that. But today I've got a crazy special episode for you guys. We're playing 5-5 mixed game. Now what does that mean? Every time the button passes seat 1, we are switching games. We're going to start out with Texas Hold'em, and then we're going to play a round of Pot Limit Omaha, and then a round of Crazy Pineapple. When's the last time you've even heard that played in a casino? We're actually into the game for $400 to start. Let's run this crazy game up. So for our first hand, it's actually the first hand of the night. We're looking down at pocket jacks. We have straddled, the button has limped, the small blind has limped, the big blind has limped. We're not letting the price go this low. We raise it up to $60. Only the button calls and both of the blinds get out of the way. So out of position, $140 in the middle, heads up. And this is how you know the night's gonna be great, because we get a board of Jack 3 deuce. We've got top set on the first hand. I think this spot is just too strong to bet, so I check for deception, but the button checks back. Turn is a deuce, boating us up. Got to try to go for some value now. I bet 50. But the button lets go real quick. Let this be a precedent for how absolutely insane I'm going to run during this session. It's only going to go up from here. Switching things up right away, we're playing Pot Limit Omaha now. And for this hand, we're under the gun looking down at pocket kings with a couple danglers and a suit. We're raising the action up. We make it 15 to go. The button folds, the small blind calls, and then the big blind calls. So we're taking our first PLO hand 3 ways in position with 45 in to a board of King Jack Deuce. We've got top set once again. Both of the blinds check to me, and I c-bet here for 25. The small blind folds, but then the big blind raises to 65. I'm not super educated in how to play these kind of spots in PLO, but I know I've got top set and I want to get as much money in as possible, so I repot up to 210. Big blind thinks about it for a little bit, and then ends up actually just folding, so I guess we caught him with their hand in the cookie jar. Nevertheless, we flopped another set. Let's see how strong our reign can continue. To switch it up on you guys once again, for this hand we're playing Crazy Pineapple. If you don't know how to play that game, it's exactly like Hold'em, except you get 3 cards and have to get rid of 1 after the flop. That's the only change. For this Crazy Pineapple hand, we've got King 10 with the suit in the big blind. There's a button straddle, the small blind has limped, and I've got kings, so I'm gonna raise it up. I make it 35 to go. Folds back to the small blind, who makes the call. So heads up, with about 80 in, we get a board of 10-5-3 rainbow. Not only do we have top pair, but we've also got an overpair. Small blind checks, and I'm going for super thin value. I bet 25. They've got nothing and just let it go immediately, and I kind of show to make fun of them a little bit. It's funny. Is that good? Very good. How about that?
Oh wow, that's good.
Oh, very good. I was wondering where they were. It's been about an hour or so. I'm winning most of the hands that I play. I'm dominating all the games. We're in a PLO rev, and then all of a sudden, a 5th player sits down directly to my left. And what ensues past this point will be the craziest night of poker I think I've ever played. For this hand, it's a PLO hand. We've got a pretty solid hand. Ace King 10-5 double suited on the button. It's folded to me, and I make it 25 to go. Instantly, the first hand this player sees when they sit down, they raise me in the small blind to 75. Folds back around to me, and I'm not folding this hand, so I make the call. So heads up, in position, and already one of the bigger pots so far, we get a board of 6-4 deuce rainbow. Kind of anticlimactic, not gonna lie. At least we've got a gutter and a backdoor heart draw. They actually check, and I'm definitely gonna take the free card here. I check back. The turn is a queen. Not the greatest card for us. They pick up the aggression and bet 125, and I let it go without much hesitation. They're kind enough to show that they sat down and instantly picked up aces. Oof. This player might be a lot to contend with. Playing this hand, as well as watching some of the other hands, gave me a better insight as to why this new player is actually here. Here it goes. We're playing Pineapple for this hand. We're in the cutoff, and we look down at King Jack 9 with the Jack 9 of spades. This player, directly to our left, has put on the button straddle. There's 2 calls. I limp, And then this player raises it up to 45. They've been raising quite a lot. Folds back to me, and I make the call. Now, before we go to a flop, this player had a question for me. I'll let that run.
You gonna put another 25 in, check it down?
Yeah. It's become clear to me that this player really just wants to have fun and gamble and wants to put a lot of money on this table. So I'm going to do everything I can to make them happy. I'm going to say yes, and we're going to get a run out. We get a flop of Queen Jack 6. We've got a pair. We're definitely going to keep our pair, so we toss that one after the flop. The turn runs out another queen, and the river is a 10. Our opponent shows us 7-8, but actually had 7-8-9 and pitched the wrong card. They pitched the 9, which would have given them the straight by the river, but they kept the flush draw. Our pair holds, and we're taking down this checked down pot. We're back to pot limit Omaha, and for this hand, we've got Jack, Jack, Queen 9 under the gun. I limp, and then the cutoff, who is the player directly to our left, makes it 20 to go. The button calls, the small blind calls, the big blind calls, so I'm feeling certainly priced in. I make the call as well. That said, we're playing a family pot, so all 5 of us are going to see this flop with 100 in, and we get quite the dry flop of 7-8-3, rainbow. Checks to me, I check, and the rest of the table checks. I guess no one really has much of anything. The turn, though, is an ace. The small blind checks, and the big blind bets 35. I should probably just fold here, but I get a little stubborn since I've got a gutter, and if no one has an ace, then I probably have a better pocket pair. I make the call. The cutoff folds, the button calls, and the small blind calls. So 4 of us with a slightly larger pot to a river that comes in 8. In Hold'em, it would probably be a fairly decent card, but here, I don't really like it. An 8 on the flop in PLO may have not felt super confident betting a dry top pair, but now they've got trips. Small blind and the big blind check, I check, and the button checks. And would you believe, somehow we announce we have pocket jacks, and one by one, the table mucks, and I cannot believe that we won that. We actually end up beating a counterfeit 2 pair. I mean, that's kind of a light call with jacks that we probably shouldn't have made, but we get rewarded anyway. I said that we're running good. Let's keep going. Now, time for quite an embarrassing hand. We're playing PLO. We're in the big blind with ace, king, jack 10 with a suited king. There's an under the gun straddle. The button and the small blind have both called, and it's back onto me. And I know what you might be thinking. It's probably time to raise this one, right? Well, here's the problem with playing with an erratic player directly to your left. Especially in a 5-handed structure, you don't have to do a lot of raising because you know that they're going to do a lot of the raising for you. If I raise here, they're likely going to repot with a lot of their hands, and if we don't just get it in here, I'm likely going to have to do a lot of folding. I just limp, and sure enough, I raise it up to $50. The button folds, the small blind calls, and I can close the action now with the call. So now in this bloated single raised pot with $160 in the middle, 3-way, second to go with ace, king, jack 10, we get a board of ace, 8, 4. We've got top pair, top kicker. Small blind checks, I check to the aggressor, and they continue for 125. The small blind then comes back over the top with the rest of their stack to 200. Now, interestingly, this does not reopen the pot. So if I want to make the call for 200, I can't get raised. Now, you might be thinking, it's PLO. There's a decent chance that I could just be destroyed, have no equity to catch up, and I could be drawing dead. That's true against the small blind. Against the straddler, I think I'm way ahead of them. And if I make the call here, I could play for a bigger side pot against them. I make kind of a light call and toss in the 200, knowing that I can't get raised. I want to see some turns. I call, and the straddler calls. Me praying for maybe a 2 pair or top trips with top. We get a turn at the 7 of hearts. Doesn't really do much for us. I check, hoping to get a free river, and we do get that free river. Oh my goodness. The river is a 9. We've still got top pair, top kicker. We check. I know what you're thinking. We check, and our opponent checks back. I announce top, show my hand, and then suddenly realize...
Well, it's one pot. I have ace king. That's all I've got. Oh, wait. No, wait. I have straight. Holy shit. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I thought I just had ace king. I backdoored the fucking nuts.
That's a penalty.
That is a penalty. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really thought I just had ace king. I totally missed. I backdoored the nuts.
Oh my gosh, I've backdoored the nut straight. That's right, I went runner poker to have the nuts, and I just totally missed it. Ugh. While I take a moment to stack these chips, thank you, past self, for winning that pot. Let me remind everyone at home, for every video we are doing a giveaway of one runner poker card protector. These hand-designed, self-manufactured, 3D printed card protectors are not commercially available yet. They are only available through this giveaway. So when this video reaches exactly 200 likes, the comment down below with the most likes will win a runner poker card protector, shipping included, from yours truly. May the best comment win. Okay, for this next pineapple hand, oh my gosh, do you guys see that? The small blind has pushed their entire stack blind. That's right, this is not a joke. This is not a drill. They have pushed $315 over the line, over my button straddle, completely blind. And I told them, if it folds to me, I will call blind. Oh my gosh. And of course it happens. It folds to me, and I keep my word. I call blind. So that's right, we're doing a $315 each crazy pineapple 2 runouts flip. Here we go. So the way you have to do this is a little odd. Because you have to discard 1 card when you play pineapple, we're gonna get the first 2 flops instead of doing full 2 boards. Look at our cards, discard 1, and then run the turns in the rivers. So the first board we get is terrifying. Not in the sense of poker, but thematically. It's 6-6-6. The second board is more terrifying in a poker sense. It's Jack 10 deuce, all hearts. We turn our hands over, and I've got King 9-9, and I can't exactly see what they have. I've got a pair in my hand, which for a flip, I'm loving that. I toss the king to keep the 9s, and we're on to the turns and rivers. The turn on the top board, of course, right after I toss the king, is a king, and the river is a 4. On the bottom board, the turn is a 5, and the river is a 10. We finally get to see what our opponent has, and they show us Queen Jack. So they've got trips Queen high on the top, and 2 pair on the bottom. We've got a full house on top, and a lower 2 pair on the bottom. So we chop.
Full house on top.
All right, chop it up, chop it up.
That was a waste of time.
Yeah, I know, right?
So as you may have noticed, we're doing a lot of real gambling with the player to our left tonight, just to make them happy. This hand is no exception. We've got pocket 8s in the big blind. The player to our left, of course, has straddled. It's folded to us, and I've got a pair, so I want to get some money in. I raised it up to 20. And then, snarkily, they go, how about 35? I'm not letting this stand. I'm not letting them push back at me. I've got a pair. I want to gamble. I go, how about 2 boards? And I 4-bet rip it from 35 to over 300. And of course, we get snap called. What do you think they have? Put it in the comments what you think they're calling with. I bet you won't get it right. We're going heads up to 2 full runouts with pocket 8s for $365 in against Queen 4 of spades. That's right, Queen 4 of spades. This player is here to gamble, and you will not believe the most insane runouts you've ever seen. On the first board, we find an 8 on the flop, pretty much locking that one up for us on King 8-4. Wow, we managed to hit a set. That's great. The board runs out clean, and we hold that board. The second board, we're not so lucky, as our opponent finds a queen with the flush draw. The turn on the second board is the 8 of spades. We've managed to hit 2 sets on 2 boards, but it's the 8 of spades. That gives them the flush. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. We've managed to hit 2 sets with pocket 8s, but our opponent has a flush. Now, wouldn't it be hilarious? You already know it. It's manifesting itself. The river on the last board is an offsuit queen. Oh my gosh, it pairs the board. It gives them trips and a flush, but we've managed to hit a set on the top board and a full house on the bottom board, scooping this entire pot. Oh my goodness. That is the single-handed craziest run out I think I've ever seen. And it's only going to get crazier from here. Okay, we're moving back to PLO. This hand's going to be a little bit more standard. It's going to be less gambly. Not actually going to be up against the player to my left at the end of the hand. Although they're going to start it, we're looking down at pocket sixes and pocket fours, playing PLO on the button here. We're putting the straddle on. The player to our left has raised it up to $30. The big blind calls, under the gun calls, cutoff folds, and then I close the action on the button with a call. So we're going four ways, about 120 in position, and we get a flop of 6-5 deuce. Once again, we've got top set. Checks to the under the gun player, who actually leads out for 80. I make the call, and everybody else folds. Maybe I should be raising here with top set, but when the turn comes on 9 and the under the gun player checks, I'm feeling more confident about my hand. I bet the pot for 150. And then something kind of unexpected happens. We get repot to $450. Now I feel like I want to vomit. Unfortunately, I didn't see before betting that 7-8 now gets there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight. I thought about it for a while and wondered if we should just be getting the money in here since we have pocket fours to block the lower end, so there's even fewer things we lose to, and we pretty much only lose to 9s and 7-8 combos, and we can still bow it up against the 7-8 combos. But the SPR is just really bad, and I decide to make a very tight, conservative fold. I know that if I can conserve as many chips on this table as possible, I'll be able to make more from the player to my left while I have more chips instead of fighting in these spots. That said, I decided to let it go, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about this one. We're back to PLO, and for this hand, we're in the under the gun straddle, and the player directly to our left has blind raised it to 40. We finally get our cards, and we look down at ace king 6-5. Not bad. The big blind makes the call, and I make the call, and since it was a blind raise, they don't get an option, so I can close the action in the straddle here and go straight to a flop. So second to go with about 125 in, we get a board of ace queen 4. Once again in PLO, we've got top. I check, and then the button bet's only 50. Big blind lets it go for that price, and I'm not folding top pair to this guy, so I make the call. As if top pair wasn't good enough, the turn 5 now gives us 2 pair. I check, planning on them to bet, and they do comply and bet 100. I, of course, make the call with 2 pair. The river is a 9. Doesn't really do anything for our hand. We still got 2 pair. I check to them, and they bet 400. Woof. This is like the first time they've actually put in a very large bet. Again, what would you guys do in this situation? I ultimately decide to make a very tight, conservative fold. I'm thinking that if I can save my chips, I'll have better spots that I can get more money from this player. I reluctantly make the fold, and they are nice enough to show us that they did indeed have the goods, and they turn over the wheel. Wow. If I can consistently make plays like this and fold in big spots when I'm beat and get maximum value when I'm ahead, you already know I'm about to make a big score. For the final hand of Crazy Pineapple that we're going to talk about, we're looking down at pocket fours with another card that I can't remember right now in the big blind. There's an under the gun straddle, the small blind calls, I make the call before, of course, the player to our left takes their option this time since they straddled and raises it up to 35 to go. Small blind calls, and I'm closing the action with a call. I know it's probably a little bit predictable what's going to happen since I'm showing this hand when we have a pocket pair, but I digress. 3 of us in, second to go, about $100 in, we find another set on 5 deuce 4. Small blind checks, I check to the aggressor who actually checks this one back. Now we've got to get rid of a card. I think it's pretty obvious which one we're getting rid of here. We were faced with a nightmare on a very similar board playing PLO a couple hands ago, but it's no nightmare this time. It's a daydream as the turn is a deuce, boating us up. The small blind, to make our dream even better, comes out and bets 75. I, of course, make the call, trying to rope in the player to our left, which is successful. They do make the call for 75. So, small blind then slows down and checks. Now I've got to decide how much to bet to get some value with my full house. I settle on a bet of 200. The player to our left actually folds, and then the small blind goes deep into the tank. I'm sitting there stone cold, praying for a call, and eventually they reluctantly toss the chips in. We show instantly, and they muck, and we're scooping yet another massive pot.